so far. Today is actually the last day we will be doing our Old Testament books, which also means that in hopes to get into the New Testament, while we're still in Lent, it means we're doing 4 books of the Bible today. So everybody buckle up. Luckily, we are in the lesser prophets. These are smaller books of the Bible. They're lesser prophets, and they're lesser known by many people. So the scriptures may not sound familiar, but seeing that they're prophets that are giving messages to communities during difficult times, it might sound familiar in other ways. So we encourage you to read along. Next week, we get to step into the New Testament as we prepare for Easter, and we will read Matthew together. But this week, we will be doing Zephaniah, Haggai, Zechariah, and Malachi. So let us enter into worship together. And now we will sing together our choral sensitive information about our loved ones, but I will encourage you to share after worship. And if you are online today and you have a prayer request, you can send me a message directly, or you can go to our private group and put it on the group page on Facebook. That is private, but also be aware that it does go to a large group, so do not volunteer other people's information, please. With that, we have many prayers on our hearts and minds. Life has been strange for many. We know for teachers and people in the medical professions. I know with churches and throughout the world, many people are changing and adjusting the way they live. Let us pray together. Good and wondrous God, we know that you are capable of so many miraculous and amazing things. We know that you are the one who pulls us together in times of need, and we invite you into our lives so that you might use us as agents in May we be those who encourage kindness and love in times of stress and difficulty. May we be the hands that heal rather than the hands that harm. May we also be the voices that do likewise. Dear God, for all those who are anxious and afraid, may they know that your presence is strong and your will for us is strong. May they know your healing and your comfort. For all those who are waiting for what's next, dear God, may you give peace and patience. For all those who are finding celebrations and looking for a community in which to share and celebrate, let them know that you are here and we are too. For all of our prayers of concern and sorrow, of celebration and joy, may we lift them to you as Christ teaches us to pray. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. I invite you now to turn in your hymnal to hymn number 18. We will be singing Guide Me, O Great Redeemer. For now, we will not be doing that quite the same because one, we don't want kids on camera, and two, they tend to gather in a group and we're trying to avoid them cross-contaminating and sharing things. So, for all those young at heart, thank you for being here. Let us go forth into our next stage of worship, and we're going to welcome our online friends. Like I said, want to turn to Zephaniah chapter 3. This will be a kind of works as a prayer of confession and words of assurance in Zephaniah's age, and might speak to you too today. If it doesn't speak to you, that is fine. The world is always changing right now, so I woke up this morning thinking, wish I didn't put that scripture for today, but at the same time, there are ways it might be kind of ideal. So let us turn together to Zephaniah 3. This tiny little Zephaniah. Where are you? This is the problem with not having enough page markers here. I'm letting the whole world know about it.
Thanks for that.
Let us read together. Ah, soiled, defiled, oppressed city. It has listened to no voice. It has accepted no correction. It has not trusted in the Lord. It has not drawn near to its God. The officials within it are roaring lions. Its judges are even wolves that leave nothing until the morning. Its prophets are reckless, faithless persons. Its priests have profaned what is sacred. They have done violence to the law. The Lord within it is righteous. He does nothing wrong. Every morning he renders his judgment, each dawn without fail. But the unjust knows no shame. I have cut off nations. Their battlements are in ruins. I have laid waste to their streets so that no one walks in them. Their cities have been made desolate, without people, without inhabitants. I said, surely the city will fear me. It will accept correction. It will not lose sight of all that I have brought upon it. But they were the more eager to make all their debts corrupt. Therefore, wait for me, says the Lord, for the day when I arise as a witness. For my decision is to gather nations, to assemble kingdoms, to pour out upon them my indignation, all the heat of my anger. For in the fire of my passion, all the earth shall be consumed. At that time, I will change the speech of the peoples to a pure speech, that all of them may call on the name of the Lord and serve him who is one accord. From beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, my supplicants, my scattered ones, shall bring my offering. On that day you shall not be put to shame because of all the deeds by which you have rebelled against me. For then I will remove from your midst your proudly exalted ones, and you shall no longer be haughty in my holy mountain. For I will lead in the midst of you a people humble and lowly. They seek refuge in the name of the Lord, the remnant of Israel. They shall do no wrong and utter no lies, nor shall deceitful
is in your midst, a warrior who gives victory. He shall rejoice over you with gladness. He will renew you in his love. He will exalt over you with loud singing, as on a festival. I will remove disaster from you, so that you will not bear reproach for it. I will deal with all your oppressors at that time, and I will save the lamb and gather the outcast, and I will change their shame into praise and renown in all the earth. At that time I will bring you home, at that time when I gather you, for I will make you renowned and praised among all the peoples of the earth, when I restore your fortunes before your eyes, says the Lord. Let us turn in our hymnal to hymn number 433, In a Ball. Today we will be reading from the book of Zechariah, chapter 8, verses 9 through 17. Thus says the Lord of hosts, let your hands be strong. You that have recently been hearing these words from the mouths of the prophets who were present when the foundation was laid.
hosts. For there shall be a sowing of peace. The vine shall yield its fruit. The ground shall give its produce, and the skies shall give their due. I will cause the remnant of the people to possess all these things, just as you have been a cursing among the nations, O house of Judah and house of Israel. So I will save you, and you shall be a blessing. Do not be afraid, but let your hands be strong. For thus says the Lord of hosts, just as I proposed to bring disaster upon you when your ancestors provoked me to wrath, and I did not relent, says the Lord of hosts, so again I have proposed in these days to do good to Jerusalem and to the house of Judah. Do not be afraid. These are the things that you shall do. Speak the truth to one another. Render in your gates judgment that are true, and make for peace. Do not deceive evil in your hearts against one another, and love no false oath. For all these are things that I hate, says the Lord. The Lord bless the reading and hearing of these scriptures today, and use them in the building of our faith. Amen. Now, in our lesser prophets today, we're reading a number of scriptures that deal directly with dreams and with oracles that the prophets have. Some of their dreams and oracles have to do with things that are happening around them in that moment, and some of those dreams and oracles have to do with the repercussions they see coming due to the behavior they see around them. And throughout the ages, we have used these scriptures to say, you see, I knew this was coming. Or we also have used them to bring hope. The thing about dreams and oracles is that they can be interpreted in any way you choose, but here's the thing. Choose wisely. Now we know with everything happening in the world and everything we see on the news and the things that we're being told by our health department and by all of the different officials, that there are a lot of questions. There's a lot of people who are suddenly professionals that I never knew they were professionals. And so since we are dealing in a time with a lot of questions and concerns, I feel like I, as a pastor, am not really going to spend a lot of time interpreting, but luckily we do have faith community nurses at St. John's, so I'm going to invite Beth to come up, and as our faith community nurse and also our pastoral associate, Beth and I are going to have a conversation, and also we invite anyone in the congregation in the building today, if you have questions that you would like to speak out, you can have them during this time, or we can talk about them after worship. Also, for anyone who's online and you have questions or concerns, you are welcome to contact us as well. There is a way that you can comment as you watch. Obviously, we're not going to see that at this time because we're up here and we've got someone who's going to try to read. But I don't know that that'll work out so great. So, and you can probably hear him better than I can, so I'm going to watch that video later and figure out what you're talking about. All right.
So first of all, I am not an expert in coronavirus, just so you know that, okay? But I think that one thing that Muriel led with was about being wise. And I think there's a lot of people out there who are not being very wise. there's panic. And we have to be very careful in times like this that we look to people who truly are the experts. And as we sit here on Facebook, I hate to break it to you, but people that post things on Facebook are not necessarily the experts. So this is where we get that. I know it's hard to believe, isn't it? This is where we get so much panic and so much anxiety. And this is why there's no toilet paper in the stores either. There's been nothing out there that says we're going to lose our services. You know, so I don't know why we all need toilet paper, and I don't know that there's anything that related to the coronavirus that relates to, as somebody, and this was on Facebook, so I do have to, you know, there are some funny things on Facebook. As somebody said, it's not norovirus. If you've ever had norovirus, that's when you need the toilet paper, not so much the coronavirus. Kleenex might be a better choice.
So along those lines, and I love that we're saying, like, not everything on Facebook is true, which is true, but we're saying it on Facebook, so.
It is kind of nice.
It's a wonderful world, isn't it?
Technology's great.
Yeah. So, that being said, again, Beth is not an expert in coronavirus. Beth does work in healthcare industry. Beth is a professor and teacher for a number of different classes and spends a lot of time in the hospitals. So, she does. So one of the things that I think would be helpful is who are the experts and who are we encouraged to listen to at this time?
You want to listen to your health departments. For example, I get an email every day from the Boone County Health Department, the emergency management person, and she sends an email at the end of the day, and the email yesterday said there are still no confirmed cases of coronavirus in Boone County. Now that is not to say that it is not coming, because I am pretty confident, sadly, that yes, it's going to come to our county. You know, there's not some magic barrier at the county line that's going to prevent it from getting there. But your county health department, your state health department, the CDC, these are the people that you listen to. Not your neighbor who puts it up on that Nextdoor app or whatever. If any of you are familiar with that. I know Nancy is. I've seen her put things up there.
So a few questions and debunking, and whether you know or not know, but some things I think you might be able to debunk or confirm for us. Let's just talk about basic sanitary things. People say, oh, if you drink a lot of hot drinks, or if you lay out in the sun, or if you heat yourself up, you'll kill it off.
I do not know that that has any kind of a scientific basis.
Okay. All right. So right now on the CDC, they talk a lot about the 6-foot distance.
Yeah.
And they've talked a lot about washing hands.
Does everybody really know how to wash their hands?
Should I hold your mic and you
Could.
demonstrate?
Okay, you want to make sure that you get all the surfaces of your hands. Just going like this is not enough, because you've got all the stuff in between your fingers. You need to get your fingertips. You need to have running water. You don't need antibacterial soap. This is a virus, first of all, so antibacterial soap is not helping you at all. Warm water and soap are, just plain old soap, are your best bets. Personally, if I were going to do a run on paper products, it would be paper towels. Because ideally, you want to have paper towels to use to dry your hands, to turn off the water, and if you happen to be in a public bathroom, to open the door to get out of the bathroom. Okay, so paper towels are really very helpful. And soap, warm soap and water is better than the hand sanitizer. The hand sanitizer is good in a pinch, but we'd always, in the hospital, the first skill we teach our nursing students is to wash their hands, because it is that important. When they do any skill checkoffs, if they don't wash their hands, they automatically fail. It's that important. There are some organisms that are not killed by hand sanitizer, but soap and water is your best option. So make sure that you get all of your surfaces. And there's lots of things out there. you know, if you don't want to sing happy birthday constantly, there's lots of things you can sing. Art, you have a question?
What is your opinion in public restrooms of the paper towels versus the air dryer?
I would rather use a paper towel.
Amen! Thank you for that.
I would rather use it.
Speaking of public places, are there places that should be avoided or ways that, because we're not on Ohio and County.
Right.
So public places are obviously still open. We still are able to bring people in to worship with us. The church doors are going to be open and things, but are there ways that we should interact in public and places maybe we should avoid? Or?
Well, I think that's kind of hard to, I mean, the rule right now, not the rule, but the guidance they're giving is groups of 25 or more, which is why we canceled the community meal, which is why I'm already worried about the Habitat pasta dinner. You know, as long as you stay 6 feet away from people and you're not in, the big thing is to stay away from people that are sick, which is why we're telling people that are sick to stay home. It's not just for their protection, it's for the protection of everybody else. No, I'm not sick. I did want to mention that if you are sick and you're concerned that you might have the coronavirus, honestly, the last person that we want you, the last place we want you to go is your doctor's office or the ER. Call first. Both Mercy and OSF have virtual online where you can go through, at OSF it's called Claire of CC, I believe, because she saw vision, so it ties in with virtual. But you can go on there, you can ask questions, she can ask you questions to decide, are you at risk? You know, have you traveled? Have you been in contact with sick people? Mercy has the same sort of service. So you're better off to do that before you show up cold at an ER door. Vicki?
The urgent care facilities, are they equipped to test for coronavirus?
I do not believe so at this point.
I didn't think
They're trying to get more test kits out there, obviously.
What about the ER over?
I honestly, that is one thing I do not have firsthand knowledge of, is who has test kits.
Oh, okay.
The last I heard, but at OSF, we were sending them to the state, but that was about 2 weeks ago. So they were going to Springfield, Chicago, or Carbondale. But things have changed dramatically since then.
How'd they arrive at 25 people? How did that become the magic number?
I'm honestly
Did you have
not
any
sure.
insight into that?
I'm sure it's some epidemiologic calculation, because there's also where they're talking about 250 people.
Right.
So,
I've heard that too for larger organizations.
yeah. I mean, and like Muriel and I talked about this morning, I think it's 250 people seeing an Ice Hawks game is different than 250 people in this sanctuary.
Right.
So, you know, what has gone out the window is common sense.
Mm-hmm.
Face mask? You want to mention face mask?
Well, your regular surgical face mask is not going to protect you from getting it. If you have it and you have to go to an ER, they're gonna put one of those on you just so you don't cough stuff out 6 feet from you. But those N95 masks, that you have to be fitted for that. Our staff, I mean, my students do not get fitted for it because it's not like a little simple face mask. So you have to be fitted for that, because if you're not fitted, it's doing you no good. It's very attractive, but it's not helping you at all. You have to be fitted for it.
Isn't it more for the people who are sick, though? If you're not sick, it really isn't serving its purpose.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, you can hyperventilate with it, that N95 mask too, so you don't want to make yourself sick with other things.
So, speaking of not sick and sick, can you talk a little about the symptoms, but also can you talk about incubation? Because I've heard that you can still be a carrier and possibly spread it to people even if you're not showing symptoms.
Right. Not everybody has symptoms, and that's part of the problem. Fever is still the number one, but that could be flu or that could be coronavirus. They're thinking more that a non-productive cough is coronavirus, but that could also be flu. Versus when you have a cold, you usually have a very productive cough. So there's still, even though we have some thoughts, those are even changing a little bit. Some people don't have any outward symptoms and they honestly don't feel that bad. And those are the people that are probably, sharing it unintentionally.
So, I read an article, news article, that the incubation can be from 2 to 14 days.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, and that's why when these people come off these cruise ships and stuff, they are quarantined for 14 days. And I mean, when they're talking quarantine, they were checking. They're not just self-reporting their temperature. Some healthcare professionals actually checking their temperature and monitoring it. So, yeah.
So there's head colds and there's chest colds. This has no symptoms of the cold, right? From what you know? No.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem to be a difference.
No.
Thank you.
So we share this today not because we're trying to terrify anyone who's already anxious, but we also know that sometimes anxiety is built up because there's a lot of different information and we want to clarify a few things. Also because to go today and have so many changes and then not mention it and talk about it, especially when we are a community of trust and care and a community that is called to love our neighbors, and we do. And we have a resource
Don't
like
look too close.
to love them from afar. We have a resource like Beth. This is important to do today. We also want to encourage people. I am a young person. The truth is that I am a young, healthy person, and if I do get coronavirus, I will not be very affected. But there are many of my loved ones who will be devastatingly affected. So for me to say, oh, when God takes me, God takes me, I am content with that. That is one thing for me to say, but I will not say that for my loved ones.
Amen.
So that's why we are specifically taking these precautions and being intentional, because while you individually might have more of a devil-may-care attitude, and the people around you might even have that attitude, we do not want to put that attitude on other people when it is not their choice. So we encourage awareness of our neighbors, care for our neighbors, and while it seems so counterintuitive right now, care for the neighbor does not involve contact. We are a very huggy church. We have one individual who is known for having specific hugs for everyone, and that is deeply missed. I love to hold hands when I pray, and that is deeply missed. But I also know that this is the best way we can love and care at this time. So, we say it not to upset people, but just to bring awareness and bring care, and we encourage this. Are there any other questions or concerns?
If you are a person who tends to be anxious, and I happen to have Mary who tends to be anxious.
You just called her out, right?
I did.
We love you.
We love you, Mary. I don't know that you're watching on Facebook Live, but
I'm working really hard not to say names, and Beth is just like,
she knows. She's been called out.
oh, okay. I was pastor's kid. There it is. That's how it happens.
Stay off. Don't look at the social media stuff. All that does is just make you more anxious.
Amen.
You know, let's just pray about it. Prayer is always a great thing to do. And in this case, give your anxiety up to God. He can handle it. She can handle it.
Exactly.
But, don't get drawn into it. And that's what I tried to do. I've been on spring break this week. It's been a very interesting spring break, which has now, for our students, been extended a week. And I've tried to figure out, okay, now what do I do? Because guess what? You can't teach nurses how to be nurses online. They got to have patience. So we're working on doing things like
Wow,
that.
nice pun.
But the faculty have to go back tomorrow, and we'll be meeting about what we can do. But I tried to kind of ignore the social media stuff. I read the emails that are coming to my OSF email. There's plenty of those, but just don't get drawn up into the panic and the hysteria. And sadly, the media absolutely has its place, and it's a great place to get that information shared widely, but it's also a great place to just draw you in and get you panicked.
Right.
And that does not help anybody. Absolutely. Does not help anybody. So those are my final words of wisdom.
We as a community of faith put a lot of trust in our faith during this time, and we have a lot of hope. There is a lot of hope. We are doing this in a community that has not been directly impacted by coronavirus yet, and we're doing it because we want to lessen the impact. And so I really commend all of you, those online and those in the congregation in the building today, who are being intentional and taking the precautions. I appreciate that for me, for my loved ones, for the church, and for the world. This is something that we are literally all in together. While Beth has been avoiding social media, I have been using it more lately, but had to be very intentional because it is a dangerous gift. But there are ways to contact. The beauty is we live in a digital age, and when all of this is happening all over the world, I have been in contact with loved ones in India, in Germany, in different parts of Europe, and throughout the world during this time. And they're all impacted. They're all in a state of unknown. I have some in quarantine, some who've lost jobs, some who are stuck traveling, or as it is sometimes not traveling. This is a global phenomenon, and we get to choose if this is going to be the phenomenon that brings us together or tears us apart. And St. John's is going to choose to bring us together.
No.
So when you go out from this space or from this Facebook space, I'm going to encourage you to be intentional about your words. There are going to be plenty of people who are making choices that you don't agree with. There's going to be officials making choices that you don't agree with. And there have been a lot of tough calls this week by pastors, by professionals in the teaching industry, in the health industry, in governments all over the world. Lots of tough calls. And I'm going to encourage grace in all of it. Some calls might not be the best call, but the truth is that in this situation, this is something we've never encountered before, so it's a call that we're not going to know if it's the best call or not until afterwards, and even then, who knows what would have happened otherwise, right? So let's pull together as a community, know your space, encourage positivity in your own space, and send that out into the rest of the world, because God knows there are lots of parts of the world right now that need a lot of love and patience and care. So let us be that community.
Amen.
And with that, let's have a song.
What song would you like?
What song would I like? Let's see.
For the fruit of all creation?
Let's sing For the Fruit of All Creation, and then we'll talk online giving way through our website, stjohns401.org. If you are at home and you would like to give offering and tithe, you can do that through the website. There's a donate button. If you are in the pews and you didn't bring cash or credit and thought, oh, I wanted to do tithe today, these green cards explain how you can do that. We also have PayPal, so after worship, I can literally just scan your card and you tell me what you want to type in. Or you can type it in yourself, actually. That's a better idea, right? I'll let you, we'll try to sanitize my phone first so you can touch it. So we have online giving options for those of you who did bring your envelopes, checks, and cash today. We have the plates up here. We're not going to pass them around because, again, that's spreading contact. So we encourage you to drop your offerings in the plate. The wooden plate is for our second mile, which goes to our 1 great hour of sharing. The bronze plate is for our general offering fund, and we encourage you to participate. We will go ahead and bless the offering now, the offering that is in the plates and the offering yet to come. And we will, usually when we do pass the plate, we say if you do not have something to put in the plate, we invite you to hold the plate and offer prayer. We're not going to hold the plate today, but you can hold your own hands and offer prayer. And that is a wonderful gift, a wonderful blessing, and a wonderful offering to lift as well. So, let us do the doxology because it doesn't feel like church without. We'll say a prayer over our offering, and then we will send each other out. Let us pray together. As God calls Israel through Malachi to give full tithe, we gather our own gifts, tithes, and offerings to give back to God. May God bless these gifts to do great heavenly and earthly works. Amen. May we go forth from this space, encouraged to live in an environment and community that is filled with love. May we send it out to our neighbors across the street and across the globe. May we live without fear, for God is with us. May we calm the anxious heart and encourage the downtrodden spirit. For all